Hey, let's call the meeting to order. This is the Doraville City Council meeting being held on February 18th, 2026 at 6 p.m. Drink water. Please take this time to silence your cell phones. Good timing.
Lead by example, Gary.
Doraville is proud to be a city of civility. While differences of opinion are natural, let us approach each other with open minds, speak with courtesy, and treat each other with dignity and respect. Respect is the foundation of good governance, and we thank you for upholding the spirit of civility with us. I'll now call the roll. Mayor Geierman, I'm here. Councilmember Evans.
Here.
Councilmember Ray.
Here.
Councilmember Henshaw.
Here.
Councilmember Armistead. Councilmember Nasser.
Here.
Councilmember Simmons. I think he's ill this evening, so I don't think he will be joining us. All right, we have a quorum, so I'd like to ask everyone in the room to please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, would anyone like to make a motion to approve tonight's meeting agenda?
Moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? All right. We're to our proclamation already. I'd like to ask Kimberly Henshaw, Tamara Neal, Angela Fleury, and Catherine Center to please join me at the podium. And I'm not sure where the camera is, so I guess you guys are good where you are. So we're celebrating Arbor Day this month and have representatives from NANA to the Northwoods Area Neighborhood Association to accept it for us. About Arbor Day, in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. Arbor Day has become a celebration of the importance of trees in our communities, environment, and daily lives. Trees provide many benefits to our environment by improving air quality, conserving water, reducing energy consumption, providing wildlife habitat, and enhancing the beauty and health of our neighborhoods. Doraville residents understand our collective responsibility to protect and care for our natural resources, ensuring that future generations will inherit a world that values and nurtures its green spaces. And NANA, the Northwoods Area Neighborhood Association, has been the official club supporting the Northwoods Historic District and Greater Northwoods area containing Northwoods, Gordon Hills, Gordon Heights, Fleetwood Hills, Sequoia Hills, Hidden Colony, Arbor Creek, and Chestnut Place neighborhoods in Doraville and DeKalb. NANA is a voluntary, nonpartisan civic and social organization where all residents in the Greater Northwoods area are welcome to join and participate in annual programming, including stream cleanup events, tree plantings, and other acts of environmental preservation. It is important to inspire individuals to engage in environmental stewardship and to care for our environment. NANA embodies the perfect environmental stewards that we should all aspire to be in Doraville and around the nation. So now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Joseph Geierman, Mayor of the City of Doraville, Georgia, on behalf of the City of Doraville, do hereby proclaim Friday, February 20th, 2026 as Arbor Day for the City of Doraville, and my honor to present this to you all. And I don't know if one of you wants to speak. Okay.
1 minute. All right, you ready? Time. Good evening, Mayor and Council. As president of the Northwoods Area Neighborhood Association, known as NANA, and on behalf of our members and neighborhood residents, thank you for recognizing our community with this honor and proclamation. Our historic district, comprised of Gordon Heights, Gordon Hills, Sequoia Woods, Fleetwood Hills, and Northwoods neighborhoods, and the Greater Northwoods area, are defined not only by our mature tree canopy, but also by the creeks that run through them, 2 of which were officially named by NANA in 2019 through the U.S. Board on Geographic Names. Our community takes great pride in our sense of place and in our role as stewards of our natural resources. We are committed to protecting our trees, waterways, and green spaces for the generations of family and wildlife to come. Whether through our 2 annual neighborhood cleanups, our biannual Home and Garden Tour, or through partnerships with Trees Atlanta, Rivers Alive, and the Peachtree Creek Greenway, we remain dedicated to nurturing collaborations that help us care for the environment that shapes our home, including providing brochures of these organizations and our welcome bags delivered to every new neighbor who moves into our community. I would like to take a moment to individually thank Tamara Neal, who serves as our community lead for the annual Rivers Alive cleanup, which has removed more than 1,500 pounds of trash from our creeks over the last 5 years. Catherine Center, who served as our chair for the 2025 Home and Garden Tour, and whose committee recently replanted a new tree in the Brook Park Island where a formerly diseased tree was removed. And Angela Fleury, who no one knows, whose longstanding relationship with Trees Atlanta and the Peachtree Creek Greenway have supported tree plantings at the Doraville Unity Garden and Autumn Park, as well as the future extension of the Peachtree Creek Greenway through our community. We would like to invite our Greater Northwoods area neighbors. Oh, sorry, yes, and Angela. We would like to invite our Greater Northwoods area neighbors and any interested Doraville residents to join us on Saturday, March 21st at 9 a.m. for our annual Make the Neighborhood Green, a cleanup of the historic Gordon Heights neighborhood. Additional information can be found on our website and social channels. This proclamation reminds us that safeguarding our canopy and our creeks is not only an environmental responsibility, but a community calling, and one we proudly share with the city, the county, our partners, our members, and our neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you all. Guess I should have moved thank you, Shantae. All right, thank you. Next up, we have public comment. So I'd like to invite first anyone in the room who wishes to make public comment to come up to the podium, and you can have up to 3 minutes to speak on any topic you like. You can also use the raise hand function in Zoom. Not seeing anyone come to the podium or use the raise hand function. Actually, I see a hand that just went up, so we will pull him in. All right, and Tom, hopefully you don't have technical issues, but once you unmute, you can speak for up to 3 minutes. Tom, we can't hear you. Tom, we're going to give you another few seconds. Check your mic. You hear? I'm not seeing anything come up on the screen in terms of transcribing. I think we're gonna close public comments. Cecil, I don't know. Do you think that's? I would just encourage everybody, just because of technical issues, if you really have a comment that you want to make, come to the chambers and make it. But we try to accommodate online. Tom, one more chance. Okay. All right, we're going to close the public comments and come to consent agenda. And we'll see if anyone on the council would like to make a motion regarding the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
We have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? All right, motion passes. Great. Now we have a presentation by our interim superintendent of schools, Dr. Sauce, but also Eric Hofstetter, the chief operating officer.
Thank you, Mayor. Am I on? Test.
You're on.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor Geierman. It's a pleasure to be here with you, members of the City Council. Appreciate your hospitality this evening in welcoming myself here. Again, my name is Norman Sauce. I'm very proudly serving DeKalb County School District as interim superintendent. Also joining me this evening behind me is our Chief Operations Officer, Mr. Eric Hofstetter. We also have two members of our school board with us, and that's Ms. Whitney McGinnis and Mr. Andrew Ziffer. Appreciate both of them being here as well. We wanted to share several updates with you all this evening. First and foremost, I wanted to take an opportunity to introduce myself to the mayor and to the city as interim superintendent of the school district. Wanted to share a little bit about some work that's underway, very important work that's underway that you all may have heard about related to our student assignment project, is what we're calling it. So I intend to share a little bit about that. And also, Mr. Hofstetter is excited to share some updates related to the Sequoia Middle School and High School project, construction project that's underway that I think you all may have some questions about. So first and foremost, I've been privileged to serve the school district since first October 9th as acting superintendent. Then on November 14th, I was named interim superintendent. And I can share that in my case, it has been a whirlwind of meetings and engagements and conversations, dialogue, to be in as many spaces as I possibly can be around DeKalb County, particularly the school district, to understand the perspectives, the points of view, the experiences of our stakeholders from across the district. And of course, we know we serve a very large school district with vast experiences, points of view, and thoughts about what direction the district ought to be going and things that have benefited us in the past, assets that we've been able to benefit from in the past, as well as challenges. So as I've concluded now, we're working on my 5th month. It has been an abundant opportunities I've had to meet people and speak with folks about these topics and everything else in between. So I'm grateful for that, and again, grateful for the opportunity to speak here today as we kind of unpack some of what we've learned and where we're going. With that being said, there are some clear area of foci that we have landed on and identified as it relates to my induction and certainly where we seek to head as a school district. First and foremost is literacy. And no one would deny that literacy is a critical lever, a critical driver of success, not only for children now, but for the next stages of their life. And so I start with sharing that we have landed on and identified that elevating literacy to launch lifelong learning is a critical aspect of the work that we're going to be engaging now and as long as I'm in the seat and going forward. We have many success stories around the district, including schools here in Doraville, around elevating literacy outcomes for kids, but we also have some areas for growth systemically at the micro level and at the macro level that we've identified. One way that we're seeking to do that starting next year is to provide kindergarten paraprofessionals in our classrooms, which up to now we haven't done. So we have a plan that we're developing now to incrementally offer kindergarten paraprofessionals in our kindergarten classrooms in our elementary schools as a foundational entry point for literacy. And some of our neighboring districts have done that, and we're looking to do that very soon as well, as soon as next year. Also a part of that is we're looking to offer literacy reading specialists in our schools, reading teachers, if you will. Another lever that has shown successful in some of our neighboring school districts that have elevated literacy outcomes at the rate that we expect to. So that's another part of the planning for next year and beyond, as we seek to resituate and reorient ourselves around focusing particularly on literacy. That includes also reading coaches. So not just reading teachers, but also reading coaches that are particularly looking to elevate pedagogy for our teachers and do so in job-embedded ways with rich professional development and alongside professional development in the buildings in ways that we haven't done up to now, but that's an important part of our planning. So there's more, but just wanted to kind of start with elevating literacy conditions is where we seek to begin in terms of priorities. Secondly, I like to offer is around facilities. And we're going to get to, of course, Mr. Hofstetter's comments here in a few minutes around the progress of the Sequoia construction project. But we recognize and appreciate that we have a very large capital portfolio. And we've heard this, of course, in the discussions that I've had that I described in my induction. And we recognize, of course, that we have more work to do in the way of delivering on promises, but we also have in the past that, may have been under-delivered or may not have been delivered for various reasons. But we recognize that we have to equitably distribute our resources to ensure that our facilities are world-class and provide our children with the kind of learning experiences in the learning environments that we all desire and anticipate for our children. It's not going to be easy, but we recognize that's the charge before us. And we believe that one of the ways we're showing delivery on that is the Sequoia High School, Middle School project that's now being built that Mr. Hofstadter will speak to. And we appreciate the board's support in getting that project underway here in the last year. A part of that too is we recognize that our leadership and operations, again, led by Mr. Hofstadter, they are such, not only the leadership, but the frontline employees are such hardworking, devoted employees that are leading some of the largest nutrition operations in the county, transportation operations in the county. We're one of the largest employers in the county, particularly in our operations division alone. But yet, at the same time, we've been managing this extremely large capital portfolio while managing, large day-to-day operations of the third largest school district in the state and the 30th largest school district in the country. So we're implementing some ways here very soon to kind of separate the duties and responsibilities so that the operations leadership have an opportunity to do that on the day-to-day and create some new leadership opportunities for our capital portfolio, which is that never ceases to decline, is what I'm trying to say, is the amount of work that requires: zoning, permitting, working with the various contractors, et cetera. So that's kind of a split in that work is coming so that there's more focused leadership in both realms. Part of that also includes our student assignment project, and that's not only around facilities, but as you're aware, and certainly your citizens have heard, we are embarking on a journey that's beginning of community input and community engagement, where we are interested in feedback in scenarios around buildings, boundaries, and programs around our school buildings now and in the future. I'll give you something to chew on. We have nearly 20,000 open seats in DeKalb County School District, nearly 20,000. There are about 179 school districts in the state, and 160 of them can fit in our open seats. And so that's a reality that we're facing head on as we seek to gather as much input as we possibly can in a structured way over the next 6 months, particularly the next 6 months, for ideas about how we embark on change related to buildings, boundaries, and programs so that we can be more fiscally efficient and run the school district in the way that we desire so that no children goes without any opportunity or experience or has to go, without for longer than necessary because of us being stretched thinner than we can maybe manage into the future. As we know, folks are having children less, folks are getting married later. There's cost of living challenges that every district is wrestling with, and that's related or equated rather for us into lower enrollment over the last 10 years. Our enrollments declined by about 11 to 12,000 students in the last 10 years. Hence the significant amount of empty seats. So that's part of the priorities right now that we're addressing and planning for. We are working with a group that supports school districts around the country called HPM. That's helping us to facilitate this work. They actually recently helped Atlanta Public Schools. They're working with us and helping us to come up with feasible scenarios, gather the high volume of feedback that we're soliciting, and then in an iterative fashion, respond to that feedback, change and adapt scenarios so that we can then come back to the public with more opportunity for more thoughts, consideration, and feedback on how the scenarios are unfolding in this iterative process as I'm describing it. So we're not anticipating the board having recommendations in front of them for any sort of a vote until the latter part of this calendar year. So we're not certain whether that may be October, November, December, but sometime in the late fall, early winter is when we would anticipate the board having some substantive recommendations in front of them to vote on. Long before then is a lot of feedback to gather along the way as I described in the manner that I described. Last thing I'll say about that, I recognize that a lot of folks may have the view that what they have seen in this first round of scenarios that were released last week are final decisions or, it's a done deal. Nothing could be further from the truth. We have to start somewhere in the way of discussion points to garner community feedback. And so we've done that last week, but there is by no means final decisions made or done deals around any of this stuff. There's a long ways to go. So I wanted to make sure to offer that. So that's just a little bit about what's in front of us right now. I wanted to speak to that, and then I want to invite Mr. Hofstadter now to come. I think you also have some updates about the Sequoia project. Yeah, you can go to the next presentation. And then we certainly welcome questions, and I'm sure you may have some about some of what I've offered and beyond. Mr. Hofstadter?
Well, again, and thank you, Dr. Sauce, and good evening, Mayor Geierman and the board. Thank you very much for inviting us. We're always very excited to share. First wanted to say here, just on our opening slide, we can't do this without the partnership of the city of Doraville, and our partnership has been very strong. Doesn't seem long ago when Mayor, you and I met probably about 2 years ago, and still talking about it, right? And here we are 2 years later, and now if you've been by there, you see this monstrous building coming up out of the ground. And in order to make that happen, it does take the support and partnership of all of us involved in the community. And of course, thank you to our board for supporting that, and to all our citizens for East Blast, the 1 penny sales tax, without which much of this could not be funded or ever come to realization. So again, we want to thank everyone for that. So you see on your first slide there, we have the Wolves. And thank you to the process facilitated by board member Ziffer, who led a community group. We've already got a new name for the rebranding of the Sequoia Middle School and High School project. And you could see the colors there, and we'll still be refining that as we go through the process. Okay, thank you. Do I use this? Oh, you got it. Okay. There you go. Down. There it is, down. Okay. Just some players here if you haven't seen or if you haven't not seen the signs. So what we're building here is roughly a 485,000 square foot building. One side of it is 4 stories. The other side is 5. We affectionately call the 4-story the middle school, and the high school side the 5-story building. And in between, joined together by the common group of owners of gymnasiums, cafeterias, theater, and a host of other number of common areas. The beautiful thing about this building is it is designed to be adaptable over the next 50, 60 years. So as the community changes, Doraville changes, the school district and education in general changes, this building here can serve all K-12 scenarios with very little modification. So it's very cost effective to do. And it also right now features 2 separate entrances between the middle school and high school, and it's currently sealed off. However, again, one of the unique designs is that if there was ever need to bring one major school together, whether it be a K-12 or a large 9-12 high school, you can simply remove a few walls and then it would be one contiguous building internally. Okay. So it was built on those adaptable concepts. With us, you heard about HPM. HPM is also our program management team. They handle all the technical parts of our construction program and our large portfolio, of course, under the guidance and oversight of DeKalb County School District. They've been great partners, so you may hear about their names come up. Hopefully you won't notice the difference between them and us because we work together to be a very seamless unit as a representation. The architect for this program is GMC. And you may have heard them. They are here in Atlanta-based, have a large presence in many schools. And then, of course, Gilbane Construction in the construction world, a very large, very capable contractor, particularly for this project here, which I believe is the largest project ever undertaken by DeKalb County School District, both in terms and size and in dollar amount. So we're very happy that everything is going on there. As you can see, our current milestones. We plan to open up the middle school portion of June of 2027, which is really not that far away. A lot of work going on there that have to get to that point. And then what the current middle school students are there on the old campus, as they say, the old building, we will move them in, and then we need to go ahead and raise that building so that we can finish out the rest of the school and continue on with the high school, which is scheduled to open in August of 2029. Okay, so that's kind of the timeline. I'm very happy to say that we are on schedule and on budget. So barring any unforeseen issues, that's where we're heading. And again, I really want to say this because we do a lot of projects. As you know, we have 140 across the 350 square miles of DeKalb that are currently going on. And I really value the partnership with Doraville because the permitting, the communication, and the working together for this project has been very, very commendable. So I do want to thank you for that continued support. And you got a couple concepts there, and we could try to bring in that feel and look of the Northwoods neighborhood and some of the traditions there. Those are conceptual renderings. That is not the final, but that's what it looks like there. Okay. Here's some live action photos from about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. But if you're out there, you see it coming alive. If you look from where the current middle school stands and you look that way, eventually it's going to look about a 3-story building. However, if you go to the backside, we're using the terrain in order to capture that. So it's not such a big presence. But if you do live on the backside of the school, you're going to see a 5-story high rise. Okay. It's also important to note, and again, thank you to the facilitation and help partnership with the city of Doraville. We've been able to recently acquire the land that was owned by the citizens there, the 8 acres that buffers where the stream is. And thank you to our board for supporting that. That way we can make a more secure campus, and also plans one day about the path. So whenever that comes to fruition, we'll be ready to go ahead and maybe connect those together. Okay. So we're working hard on that. Couple of points there I'll let you all see, but if you go there and visually see it, you see the steel and everything going on. We're doing a topping out ceremony for the middle school. Topping out is when we put that last decking on there. So that's the piece, right? That's how you know how tall it's going to be. We're looking for that here just in a couple of months. And we will have a ceremony there. Usually involves children and anybody from the local community would like to come out. Just an overhead schematic of some of the finished design of the entire site. Obviously, all the buildings that are shown in color is the new construction. And again, you can see how this shapes. Now, this is the current piece. This is the actual footprint on the ground level. But right in front there where the current building sits, that's where the topography raises up. And so between that, and then this would be the second floor in the finished site plan. You can see how the building then kind of juts into where it is. And that's why we have to move the kids out so we can raise that building and finish out the project. And then again, you got 4 stories on one, 5 on the other, large auditorium right in the middle. We're trying to maximize as much parking because that was very important to us when we did talk with the community and others. We know that there's going to be a lot more traffic than what's been there now. And our goal was to get as much staging on campus so we can get cars off the road. And of course, with some unique scheduling that we're kind of just throwing around at this point, perhaps we can limit the timeline so that we can work with local police forces and not try to disrupt the community too much throughout the day. Okay. The plan does call for a full baseball, softball field combination field, right? All artificial turf, as well as a football. And we're going to try to get as many seats in there as we can that'll fit without being overdone. But it does call for lighting, track, and tennis courts, and as much of the full complement of amenities that you can for a high school. Okay. So we're very excited about that and very proud. That's kind of our presentation for now. We look forward, if you ever really want to view, we'd be happy to set something up, get the hard hats out, and we'll go for a walk when we're ready to do that. So, and with that, again, thank you for your support of East Blast, and that's coming up again. So very important to all our funding techniques. Don't have to tell the city about that. So, and with that, thank you. Take some questions.
Thank you to both of you, Dr. Sauce, Mr. Hofstadter. I guess I will say, I know you guys did offer a tour. I think a lot of us were working at that time. The one council member who did attend is out sick tonight, but I heard great things from him about it. You also touched on this, on the partnership, and I wanted to make a point to thank you both and the board members that are here for the partnership, not just on the land that will become the Peachtree Creek Greenway, but also we have been talking to the school district for years about, trying to get a portion of the area that you guys use on Flowers Road that's, for the bus depot. And, we have plans for a multimodal path there. I think you guys have come and we are making that deal. And, we're grateful for that because really, I think one of our big goals is making Doraville a more connected place where our residents can, get from one point to another without necessarily having to get in their cars. And, I think, again, it's not just adults, kids might be able to walk to school one day with some of these things. So I just really appreciate you all working with us on that. We'll see what questions, I appreciate the presentation. We'll see what questions council has. Why don't we start with Councilmember Evans? Because I know he's got a few.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you all for being here. Really appreciate it. It's excited to see a lot of the progress happening with Sequoia Middle and High School, and it's been a long time coming, so greatly appreciate it. With that, one of my first questions, I guess, is regarding the recent news of closures of schools in DeKalb County. I think it's roughly 20. I'm sure there'll be different assignments related to that, and just kind of what's the plan with those school closures? I know Dr. Sauce touched on facilities improvements and what to do with some of those buildings, but if there's more in-depth information you can get about how that would be, students would be reassigned, transportation, things of that nature.
Take a shot at that. Yeah, I appreciate that because that is a very important question. Again, as Dr. Sauce said, we're in the very early stages. And what's really important in all this is that we do collaborative community planning, and that's what we really want to hear from them. We don't have definite facilities yet because we don't have definite answers. And that's why we are with the community. However, we do anticipate that many of those schools that you've seen be closed on round one, that's for us to be able to get just to our pre-K 12 education program. We still have to come back and fill in some of our specialty schools and things of that nature. So some of those may end up in what appears to be those closed buildings. They just may be relocated. So that's kind of round one. Once we know which facilities we can deal with, then we can start looking at that as the conversation progresses. From that, what then is maybe left over, right? The possibilities, okay? Our plan is, and again, we're not there yet. That's why I don't want to get too far ahead. But we have shared this with many of our municipalities and with local government. The plan is where we can and where the jurisdiction lies, we do want to invite members and representatives from the cities. In this case, it may be the city of Doraville, to sit with us and look at what could these be for joint use or just outright some kind of rent lease program, whatever it is, right? But we want our buildings to continue to serve those communities in some capacity. Our philosophy is we're all serving the same children and adults, right? And so if we can use those buildings, in some cases, we may not want, we may need them back one day, that property, right? Because that's a huge commodity right now. So we may need them back in 20, 25 years. So we want to be very deliberate and be very thoughtful with our partners to be able to use those facilities for the community in some way, shape, or form. But we want them to also be that a value add. And then from there, we see how it goes. But right now, there's plenty of ideas, plenty of innovations, all that great. But we just don't have those facilities identified yet. But we're getting there. It's coming. It's coming. That's the plan. But
And
thank you.
then the math and reading, Dr. Sauce also touched on the reading programs, the literacy programs initiatives. And I've noticed over the years that the math scores have been going up as well with the testing scores, which is great. Kudos for that. I just want to know if there was a plan for mathematical skills with students as well.
So absolutely, and I'll share that you alluded to this, Councilmember Evans, but last year our math scores went up across the board, and so too did science, and so too did social studies. So they didn't go up in reading and literacy, but they went up in the other three areas, including in math, and so we're very, very proud of that. So I don't want to give the impression that we're taking attention away from these other academic areas, particularly numeracy. As a matter of fact, we're already discussing new curricular textbook adoption materials as we move into next year too, for across our subject areas, including in math. So none of this is to suggest the emphasis on literacy, that math is going to fall by the wayside. We built some significant momentum last year, and we're excited about that moving into next year. And although we haven't had our state assessments yet, all of our formative data that we have right now shows that positive trajectory I mentioned last year in math is continuing. And also we're addressing some gaps in reading as well as we look at our formative data. I appreciate the question.
And then my last question, Doraville's an old city, over 150 years old, and it's exciting to get a new school, but I will say there's some concern from the residents who live amongst that area with construction, noise, and then the overall impact to the neighborhood with tighter, older streets, egress, ingress, how to get in and out with the school buses, et cetera. Is that a part of the plan that's been addressed thus far?
Yes, and I understand, so we're doing some early morning pouring just for because I'm sure you got a few phone calls too. We try to notify as many neighbors. I've already talked to the contractor. Again, please, if you have phone numbers, emails, they blast it out so that at least people know, particularly our neighbors, that there are times when you pour concrete that we have to be early in the morning. Outside of that, we're pretty strict on that 7 a.m. rule, which is the ordinances, and they've been holding to it. But it sounds like one of them got away from us here. So we're going to do better on that, and that's already been addressed. Now, as far as getting into the streets, yes, we are recognizing that. We've done traffic studies, and we're working to the best that we can with the streets that are currently there. Okay, now they currently support about 1,600 students, but between the two schools at full capacity, that may be close to double. All right, could be in that 3,000 range. The communities that we see are high ridership with buses, so that's one piece. We'll have those buses come in, and we try to caravan them, right, when we can, just so we can get them in and get them out of the way, and that helps with safety and everything else. But the streets are going to be a challenge, without a doubt. We're going to work where we can and to the extent feasible that we can. That particular school, as you know, it's adjacent to DeKalb County, and we are talking with them as well about potential improvements coming in and out of there. So yeah, we're not there yet, but it's going to be a challenge getting to it. Yeah.
All right, Councilmember Ray.
Thank you, and thank you for the presentation. Councilmember Evans actually covered most of what I was curious about, so thank you for that. Great minds. So I guess on a more kind of community level, you've mentioned that the math and all of that is going up. I think that's great. Are there like volunteer opportunities or after school STEM programs or anything like that you all are looking into to encourage more of that math and science growth?
We actually have a new department in the last year that's developed our Department of Student Mentorships and Partnerships. So yes, there's abundant opportunities. And, Councilmember Ray, whether yourself or anyone you want to refer to me, I'll definitely connect, any concerned or interested citizen with the right team, and we'll sign you right up. So yeah, there's plenty of opportunities. And we have an entire department that leads our mentorships for students and after school programming.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm easy to find. I'm the only sauce in the email system.
All right. That'll make it easy to track down.
Thank you. Appreciate that question and your interest.
All right, thank
And
you.
then, sorry,
Oh,
one
go.
more. And this is maybe just my own ignorance here, but when you say 20,000 open seats, are you saying there's like 20,000 spots that could be filled with students that currently are not?
So it's close to 20,000, but we have, we're a district that's built to educate about 110,000, and our enrollment is about 91,000, give or take. So essentially, yes, we have nearly 20,000 desks, if you will, or open seats for students who, many of whom at one time were enrolled in the system, because our enrollment at one time was 103, 104,000, just 10 years ago. And now we're just barely over 91,000.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. And then
That's projected. The projections are that will continue to decline by 1,500 or 2,000 a year into the foreseeable future. So we're not expecting a dramatic uptick in the next 5 years. We're expecting a continued decline, actually.
I see. Okay. And then last question for me is, I personally don't have kids, but I find myself invested in people being educated. I think life's a lot better when that happens. So when it comes to communications, I know you guys have said you've been reaching out to community and stuff. Is that from a newsletter blast that people sign up for, or what's the best way for people who maybe aren't plugged in daily to the education system to stay updated on this stuff?
Thank you for the question. So certainly on our school district website, and it's DeKalbschools.org/SAP, SAP, Student Assignment Project, is where we have all the latest information on various scenarios that we're considering, the various community engagement events where folks can come and give their feedback. If they want to give feedback electronically, if they want to participate in some of these upcoming meetings virtually, we're connecting with various community organizations to offer some sessions this spring and into this summer beyond just traditional, schoolhouse meetings. But in the meantime, anyone who's interested, go to our website /SAP, SAP, and that's the one-stop shop hub for all things related to the student assignment project, including how to give feedback.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
for the question.
All right, Councilmember Armistead.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. That's funny. I was going to ask you about volunteer or coaching opportunities for the reading side of things. So Councilmember Ray beat me to it. I'll email you too. I guess my questions have been covered mostly. I'm wondering, since this is going to be the newest, fanciest, brightest building in the district when it's done, should we anticipate that it's also going to be full? Like, will you take empty spots from other places and consolidate here in this new building? Does that make sense?
Great question, right? Because that's now the next piece is who goes to school there. In the SAP process, the SAP process, part of that will be boundaries. And that is what we are looking at. That'll probably be starting later this fall for Sequoia specifically. As you know, we have a elementary school. It's also being built very adjacent to it, and also has quite a bit of Doraville students that attend. So we'll be looking at those boundaries as well. That'll come this fall. There's a number of ways we can do it. We don't have the answers yet, and that's why we go through a process with doing this. Eventually, that school, we anticipate to be in that close to near capacity. If we can get 90% for middle and high school, again, you're talking as a total campus, somewhere around 2,800 students, 2,900. And that allows for a little bit of growth. We are seeing growth in pockets around, even though overall enrollment is declining. Y'all have done a very good job attracting, because we do see a lot of growth coming in through the Doraville corridor, also along that Buford corridor and parts of Peachtree. And so we know those students are coming. All right. So we need to plan for that as well. And again, we made it adaptable because sometimes enrollments change, but we can look at different grade band configurations. But again, right now it's 612, but we anticipate that it'll be pretty full. Yeah. Yeah. Now we may gradually bring it in. And that is something that we talked about. Maybe we start 9, 10, 11, because a lot of times we have 12th graders want to stay at their current high school if they're scheduled to be rebounded. And we do have some processes for that. The other piece where we're seeing the growth is actually just to the south of Doraville, down in the Tucker Lakeside community. Part of why Sequoia was built was also to relieve some of that area too. So obviously anything in the adjacent, that will help.
What's the target, just out of curiosity? What would your preference be for percent occupancy of a school? I assume you always want to leave a little wiggle room.
Yeah, when we get into the 90th percentile, that's usually good because it does fluctuate. In reality, they can operate much higher. Schools are designed, they can operate at 120% capacity. Keeps class size still the same pretty much, but you may see it in cafeterias and the common areas. But that's an ebb and flow depending on, the bubbles of kids that swell and then they go down, right? So we got to leave some flexibility in there to do that. High schools in today's modern world, there's a lot of dual enrollment programs. So even though the students may be enrolled, your actual physical presence may not be that high because of other opportunities. So maybe half-day programs, some are online. So yeah, it's a mix. Yeah, it's an art.
Thank you. All right, now we're moving to some of our parents on the council. Councilmember Nasser.
Thank you for coming. Thank you. Sorry, thank you for coming. I also wanted to thank you, everyone who are listening, who are present, and also happy Ramadan to everybody. My first question is actually Councilmember Evans already asked, but I know it's a lot of schools are closing, but is Doraville is going to be impacted anyhow? Any Doraville school will be closed? Or in this district?
I think you guys don't know yet, but however, I don't think that any Doraville schools were on that list, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember in my head here real quick. I don't think there's many in the area up here. And again, that's because we're actually having to build in order to accommodate what's already here. There may be some consolidations, but boundaries, definitely. Obviously, the Sequoia boundary and the Dresden boundary of those two new schools will have some impact. We're also looking at Kingsley, which is to the north, but I believe they do tie in a little bit into the city of Doraville, some of the boundaries here. That school is on one of the first for consideration. So that may have some impact there.
Okay,
We'll see how that one plays out. So.
thank you. I have actually more questions. Second question is, I know you guys building a nice piece of nice school in my neighborhood. Actually, it's very close to me. Very close to me, close to my house. I have 4 children, but actually 3 children attending school as of now. 4th one is coming in. So, thank you. The traffic and sound barrier, could you address it? How would you be addressing in our neighborhood? I know there's going to be a traffic issue and the sound barrier. I know a lot of our residents are a little concerned about the sound.
Okay. Along Sequoia boundary.
Right.
Specifically? Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I think we talked about traffic. That's going to be a challenge. So sound barriers, we are anticipating leaving that tree line, so that will help with some of the sound there. And we do have a tree plan to help with it, different variations. The reality is high schools tend to operate well into the evenings, especially with athletics, band practice. So there will be times, and we do deal with this at other high schools. The notion is we expect our high schools to have good relationships with surrounding neighbors and make them notify, but also be considerate.
I do
Not
understand.
going out on Saturday morning at 7 a.m. having practice, right?
I do understand. I have a lot of residents reach out to me and they had questions. So I said, hey, when I get a chance, I'll ask. I'm sure they are watching, they're listening. I have a few more questions. I hope you're going to be patient with me. Crossing guard. In our neighborhood, I don't remember having a crossing guard. I know there are older children, but I'm not sure how are you guys going to address that?
We work with our public safety department and they handle all our crossing guards. They're aware. And, as we begin to plan and continue to open, again, we have a few years because this middle school that's there now will continue to operate there till 2029. Then we add more. So I know part of their plan for public safety is to look at all that and crossing. And if we'd have to get on roads to help to build crosswalks and be more dedicated to that and do some traffic calming, particularly in and around the campus.
Next question. How long would it take to build the school approximate?
To build this school?
Yeah.
Right. So we're scheduled right now to open the middle school portion in 1 more year. So it takes about 2 years worth of construction. And then the high school will begin more in earnest once we got to get the building out of the way, the current building. Move the middle school kids in, and then beginning in the fall of 2027, then we begin to, redevelop where the school is and demolish it and move on. And then we finish building out the rest of the school with an opening right now targeted for August of 2029. And then the full building will open as a full school in August of 2029.
And I also noticed a lot of bus driver, they drive so fast in our neighborhood street. We had that issue before. So that's why I would like to hear about it.
I will definitely talk to our bus drivers because we do track them and let me find out what they are doing. And again, because there's going to be even more traffic, it's even more important that we focus in on that. And like we said, we are working with DeKalb County a little bit on some traffic calming and what that may look like on those roads. So, but I will definitely address the bus drivers if that's occurring.
And last question is, I know DeKalb County and actually countrywide, we have mass shooting issue. I will hope you guys have a better plan for that. Could you please?
Well, we do have safety plans in all our schools in operation anyway, and we're going to do all we can to protect children. We know that. And we do work closely with all our law enforcement and we do a lot of joint training and that's very important, right? So we're going to continue with that. As far as physical school design, we do have measures. We incorporate the idea of CPTED, if you're familiar with that, right? And crime prevention through environmental design techniques. And that's in things such as certain trees not in ways, so we have open visible ways. We do have, vestibules. And again, all that is designed to slow things down. Of course, all camera systems and things of that nature and just vigilance always.
I appreciate it for answering all my question and please.
I do want to say one thing about that. one of our best resources is the students themselves. They tend to know things, and having that relationship is so important, and having the parent relationship. I overheard this, I seen this. We check every single one, no matter how sometimes vague it may be. We go in and we look for every single thing. So we really encourage that old, where they say, see something, say something. We encourage that. Please let us know. Okay, we have hotlines set up for that. It's anonymous if they want to, but we do check every one of those.
I do appreciate answering all my question. Thank you for being here. And also, it was one of my biggest concern because I have 3 children, goes to school. I have 3 precious daughter, and I do not want anything to happen to any of them. If I had to run in there, I will.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
To save my children and others.
Yes, sir. We prepare and hope we never have to. All right.
Thank you,
But
sir.
again, thank you for being a parent too. And
appreciate it.
we look forward to all our volunteers coming soon, it sounds like. So appreciate it. Thanks in advance.
Thank you.
I have a follow-up question to the school bus question. Do you guys have GPS trackers in there? How are you tracking that?
Yes, sir, we do. Live GPS, and we do run those reports, and we do, that's part of the evaluation for bus drivers.
I will say in general, the school bus drivers seem pretty on top of it. However, there were 2 weeks just a couple of weeks ago where I saw drivers kind of running stop signs and
Okay.
moving a little faster than I was expecting when I was walking my dog in the morning. Again, almost all the school buses that I see, I wave to, they're pretty good, but whatever this driver.
Okay. Well, again, I can tell you, we don't support that. We have a very high standard, and our drivers do.
I had not even thought about it.
That's fine. Please feel free to send me a picture of the bus number if you know it. And I will have a very direct conversation because, and our bus drivers do believe safety always, but we have to make sure we don't let that guard down. We got to hold each other accountable. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Hey, thanks. They answered almost all my questions, except 2, both related to sports. You mentioned baseball/softball and tennis. I'm assuming pickleball because it's super popular, and then an athletic field for football. Is that also can be used for soccer, or is that okay?
Yes, sir. So you've seen them around most high schools, traditional, right? They accommodate all our field sports: lacrosse, soccer, football. Right.
I played lacrosse in high school, and they made us
There you
go to the public park because we weren't allowed on the football field because of how precious the football field was. But
Well,
that's a bonus.
we had a different philosophy. They're everybody's field, right? So we want to make sure everybody has access to them.
I brought it up because I actually got a number of angry emails and in person, not physically attacked, but definitely. Why did Doraville take away our soccer fields? I said, well, what are you talking about? And they said, oh, the soccer fields that were at the schools, they're gone. And I was like, Doraville had nothing to do with that. They're building new schools. What's the timing? I know you said 2027, 2029. The sports fields obviously are going to come last. Are those being brought on in 2029, or are those later than that?
Again, soft opening 27. If there needs to be anything finished out, it would continue on through the fall. Again, we have to get everybody out of the way in order to, and as like you said, it's the last piece, unless we know we're done with that area, right? But generally, it'll be the last piece.
Oh, so those will come online when the high school's online at the same time.
Our goal is to have it fully open and accessible, ready to go.
In the meantime, where will the middle school kids be doing their sports?
Yeah,
You guys have a
so we're working that now.
Okay.
Our athletic department, they're looking at different schedules. Sometimes we use other schools. I think they were using Honeysuckle Park for a while. And again, we appreciate that partnership. But during this construction, we're having to get creative. Let's just put it that way.
I've got your card. My wife, who was in here earlier, is the head of NANA, the president of NANA. So they have a very good mailing list. So if we get notifications about noise, nighttime noise, we'll send that out, and that'll hit about 200-300 of the families in the neighborhood.
Perfect.
So
Yeah, we'll get on that. I think
that'll get as many as you can in one shot. So
I'll make sure our contractor gets on that Facebook page too and
that'd be great.
put it out as well. But appreciate the feedback though.
Thank you. And it is a very pretty building. So I try not to judge architecture, but I do like the renderings. I do want to see what the final proposed looks like, because obviously, the very nice renderings are always sexy, but that's a great looking building. Hopefully you're building something close to that. So
That's our goal.
Thank you.
We appreciate you being here. We have one more question.
Sorry, I forgot a couple. Thank you, Mayor. Speaking of the building, with technology, AI taking over, are there any plans to implement advanced technology within the building in the sense of, I don't know, just something you've considered that other schools don't have in DeKalb County?
As far as the construction and the infrastructure, we are putting in the latest and also more adaptable so we can change it out and keep it upgraded. The infrastructure needed to run all the advanced. We're working very closely with our DIIT department. That's our IT with Dr. Belcher. As far as looking at extensive programs, I think our curriculum, they're looking at some of those. AI, we know, is a big thing. School district currently has a whole task group there about helping to create policy, train, and also how does it fit into today's world. That will all come and that will continue to evolve. From a facilities point of view, though, that building will have all the latest infrastructure that we know of in today and also adaptable for what we think's coming down the road. Yeah.
And then with the reallocation of the budget, do you foresee that going into the academics, other outside of the facilities, like maybe with the teachers? I got to say, some of my neighbors are teachers, and they have complained to me about how they don't have resources sometimes. Things are simply just paper, and they have to buy it out their own pocket.
Sure. Well, a couple of things. Thank you for that, Councilman Evans. At the micro level, this school year, and we plan to do the same next year, our board approved that each teacher this year has a $400 class wallet account so that each teacher has money to be able to purchase classroom materials just for their classroom, and then they're delivered to their classroom. And we've had nearly 60% of our teachers so far have used and expended all of the monies allotted to them through that class wallet account. And that began this year. But aside from that, we never want schools or teachers or classrooms to go without. That said, not to necessarily draw a straight line in every example, but when a school district is stretched thin beyond its means because you're paying for, in our case, nearly 20,000 more seats than you have students to provide for, that does create circumstances of longer bus rides, of potentially larger class sizes, of larger caseloads for counselors, of longer wait times for various curricular materials that need to be purchased or other hardware that need to be purchased. It's one of the reasons why we're embarking on this journey of right sizing to address those sort of long-standing, lingering challenges that it sounds like some of your neighbors are referencing, so that we can be as efficient as we can possibly be and provide direct services as quickly as they can be provided for our students and our teachers that are serving them. Yeah, I appreciate the question.
And my last question. Prior administration touched on this Sequoia School having specialized or advanced programs, STEM possibly. I just want to know if that was still part of the plan potentially, or any advanced or specialized training at the school.
Yeah, I can kind of tell you, again, we have our curriculum programming and CTAE, right, or career technical also. And I know they're looking at which programs would be most beneficial there. Obviously, it's about resource management. As Dr. Saw says, all this is about how do we apply our best resources to meet the demand that's there, right? And different schools demand different things when it comes to curriculum programs outside of the core, right? Literacy, mathematics, science, and all that. But when we get more into the arts, we get more into STEM and isolated programs that are very unique. I can tell you this school is built for everything right now except for automotive, because that is a very specialized, very, very, very specialized. But we do have that at a neighboring school, and it currently meets the demand. So we don't want to overbuild it because it does take up space if we can use that for other folks, right? But it is an adaptable building. We can change the labs into what they need, not just now, but 20 years from now and stuff we don't even know about. So we're excited about that. But that's all part of the programming, particularly for the high school. That's now starting to be looked at and how we're going to go to school and what to offer.
Thank you.
A lot of work. No, appreciate it. These are
Lovely
great. This is great questions. Thank you.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you for being here. Dr. Sauce, Mr. Hofstetter, board members McGinnis and Ziffer. We appreciate this update. It's great to hear about how the school district is doing, and I think that this been hearing about this kind of reapportionment process for a long time. So excited that you guys are moving forward with it, and just my plea to all of you is to just make sure that Dorville students are not not going to school miles and miles away from where they live. So and I think from my conversations with you all that we're on the same page. So thank you. So thank you again.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate
Council.
it.
Appreciate it.
We're just going to pause for a minute before we get to the next item.
My homeroom was the auto shop. Everybody,
Thank you.
oil and car tires.
All right, we can get to the next item, which is the public hearing for the change to the charter for the board, the council member zones.
And Mayor and Council, this agenda item was on the, in the meeting last week is the first read on this ordinance. And this would be the second read, and we'd also need a public hearing. Again, what we're doing is we're amending the charter. We're doing that via the Home Rule Act, which allows us to amend our charter and our own charter in certain situations. There's additional advertising, and it requires the two public hearings. One distinction I wanted to make, hearing something last week. Last time we amended this for the districts, we changed the number of districts. And what that did is that had to go through the legislature and be approved, because changing the number was considered to be changing the form of government, whereas this is just changing the boundaries, which we're allowed to do ourselves through.
We also changed the terms, the way the people were elected, because
Right. So this one is allowed to be done through the Home Rule Act. And therefore, this process is appropriate. Very quickly, again, we did our annexation. It got the districts out of balance. We were contacted. The idea was floated that we needed to amend the district boundaries so they came into a closer balance of population. We went through the state reapportionment office at the legislature, which everyone uses, and they made a proposal. The proposal came and reviewed by council. This is the action that is taken that will adopt those. Again, tonight, all we need is a second public hearing, and if it's the mayor and council's choice to adopt it, this would be the completion of this agenda item.
all right, great. Thank you. Well, since this is a public hearing, why don't we do that part first? I'd like to invite anyone in the council chambers wishing to speak in favor of this change. Come up to the podium. You can have up to a total of 10 minutes to speak. You can also use the raise hand function on Zoom. All right, we're going to close that portion and open it up to anyone wishing to speak against this item. You can also have up to 10 minutes to speak. You need to use the raise hand function if you want to do it on Zoom, or you can come up to the podium. Not seeing any hands raised. We are going to close the public hearing and bring it back to council. I think we all weighed in on this, but is there anyone who wanted to say anything else or have any other questions about it? Or would we be open to making a motion? Well, yes. So if we want to make a motion, let's make a motion.
Make a motion to approve to amend the charter to reapportion the districts per the presentation this week and last week.
Second.
We have motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, I will call the roll. Councilmember Ray,
Yes.
Councilmember Nasser, Councilmember Henshaw,
Yes.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Councilmember Armistead. Motion passes. Thank you.
Go ahead and go. All right. Good evening, Mayor and council members. The first item of new business is for a 5-part variance submitted by Joshua Marks, who represents Edmond Dorville. These 3 properties are located at 5754, 5762, and 5770 New South Peachtree Road. All 5 variances, which are new business items XA through XE, will be covered under one presentation tonight. Mr. Marks and his team are proposing to build a new mid-rise multifamily residential development. This proposal includes 31 bedroom units, 16 2-bedroom units, 8 3-bedroom units. This also includes some common areas and amenities for residents. This project is also meant to serve as a mixed income community. That means that target renters should make anywhere between 53 to 65,000 annually. There will also be 15 units set aside for voucher programs, as well as 6 units set aside for market rate. Rents could range anywhere between $950 to $1,700 per month. This project, which is located about less than a half mile from the Dorville MARTA station, which due to the distance to the station, the code requires them to provide 1 parking space per unit. So at 54 units, they are proposing 54 parking spaces. So I wanted to go through these slides. The variances are as follows. V-26-01, they're seeking to be exempt from interparcel connectivity to the adjacent property. O2 is to allow for open parking within the first layer, and this is a T5 district property. O3 is to increase the maximum curb cut driveway width. The max is 24. They're seeking a 26-foot wide driveway. V-26-04 is to allow for 2 curb cuts on the property, and 05 is to decrease the minimum frontage build out from 50% down to 32%. So just a bearings on where the property is located. It is adjacent to Dorville United Elementary School. There is a spur that feeds off of New Peachtree Road. It's called South Peachtree Road, and it's a dead-end road. It is bounded by South Peachtree Road and the MARTA elevated tracks and the railroad tracks. Currently, they do have an Edmond Dorville Phase 1 project that is currently under construction. This would be Phase 2, adjacent to their Phase 1. Just to get a little bit more bearings, it is hugging the boundary of Dorville and Chamblee. On one end of their property. Here's a view of their site plan. Their building mainly hugs the right side of the property. Their parking lot is going to encompass the middle and the left side of the property. The blue area is where the underground detention pond will go. All that to say is this lot is irregularly shaped, and placement of the building and parking lots and everything was a little bit of a challenge for the design team. And so this was the final product that they came up with. To show the rendering, this is what the final building will look like. It'll have a brick facade with some siding as some accents. So here are the variance requests. So V-2601, they are seeking relief from not having to provide interparcel connectivity from this property to the adjacent property, as indicated by the red arrow. The adjacent property that they would have to connect to, it's located in the city of Chamblee. It's also zoned light industrial. I did reach out to the city of Chamblee just to inquire if interparcel connectivity is a rule that they have. They did say that yes, if the adjacent property were to be developed, interparcel connectivity would be required. But we understand that the property in Chamblee is on light industrial, and this property is meant to serve as a residential property. The second variance is for the open parking in the first layer. The red triangles indicate where it does not meet code. The third variance is to increase this one curb cut from 24 feet to 26 feet max. I believe the intent of increasing the size is to allow for adequate fire truck access so that they can properly enter the property and then exit the property safely. The fourth variance is to add an additional curb cut. As the code states, only one per so many feet of road frontage. And so with the addition of the second curb cut, they're just asking for an additional ingress egress. And the last variance, I don't think y'all have had a building frontage come before you all in the form of a variance. What this means is that the red line is the total frontage of the property. The code says that you need to at least build a building that touches 50% of that road frontage. And because they're not proposing a building that is at least 50% of that road frontage, they need a reduction in that size. So the orange line indicates the 32%. We did recommend approval on all 5 variances. However, on the third variance regarding the increased size on the driveway, we did condition it that we do need something in writing from the DeKalb County Fire Marshal's office that 26 feet is truly needed for their operations. And so if we get that in writing, we agree that, of course, a greater driveway width is needed. Otherwise, we think that they should meet the maximum width as defined by code. We did take this before the Planning Commission. They did recommend approval all the way through, and they did recommend approval with condition on the third variance. And that is all. Thank you.
Is Mr. Marks here?
Yes, the applicant is here tonight.
Is there anything you want to add to the presentation?
Yeah, my name is Josh Marks. Thank you for having us. Really just wanted to take the opportunity to praise your staff. I've worked with Albert and Austin for the last 2 years now on Edmond Doraville Phase 1 and Edmond Doraville Phase 2, and they're responsive, capable, and been very helpful through the process. So just really appreciate all that they've put into this. We're really excited to bring Phase 1 and Phase 2 to the community. Just much needed mixed income housing. We're very excited about. On Phase 1, we're under construction and going to start framing next week, which we're very excited about. And we are financed here and very excited to be working with you all. So thank you for the opportunity. Happy to answer any questions that you have. Albert covered everything I would have said and more. So any questions y'all have, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you. I'll just say that we're going to do the public hearing first, but I just want to say, like, this is the kind of development that we want to see in that area. I think it makes a lot of sense to have it, senior living near public transit, that's very accessible. And we're excited to see this project too. So thank you.
Thank y'all.
All right. Well, this is a public hearing, so I want to invite, and Cecil, we can do all of the variances in single public hearing, right? So I would like to invite anyone wishing to speak in favor of any of the variances or all of them to come up to the podium or use the raise hand function in Zoom, and you can have up to 10 minutes to speak. Not seeing hands raised on Zoom. I'm not seeing anyone come up to the podium. So I will open it up instead to anyone wishing to speak against any of the proposed variances. And again, you can come up to the podium. You can raise your hand on Zoom. Not seeing anyone raise their hand or come up to the podium. So we're going to close the public hearing, and we'll see if council has any questions. Why don't we start with Councilmember Henshaw?
Thank you. I thought the building looked familiar. It's got some flair compared to the other one, similar building. Do they share any amenities? Are there any, the two Phase 1 and Phase 2, do they crosstalk at all, or are they just two separate buildings, two separate sites?
They are two separate buildings just for our programming, one being a senior community and one being a family community. Obviously, we want to create shared spaces that people can navigate, but for specific programming for our residents, they do have separate amenities.
Okay. No, other than that, I think it looks great. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Nasser? Sorry. Go to someone else. Okay, we're actually going to go to Councilmember Armistead and we'll come back to the Councilmember Nasser.
You, what, I just had a question about how approximately, I know it's kind of a cattywampus angle, but about how many parking spaces are encompassed in those little triangles that are the variance? Is it 4? You said in your application that the 54 spaces was required not just by us, but by your investors as well. Okay.
Really, because we need to create a marketable community, and really, we are close to the MARTA station, but really to ensure that it's going to be leased up and viable, we need to make sure that every resident or every unit is going to be able to have access to parking spaces.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure that was coming from your desire as well as from our code, just because I know you fall in that distance. You're not quite to the one
Right.
space per unit, but you're not quite to the 0.75, so.
Yeah, we don't like to overpark things, but we do want to ensure that at least every unit has a dedicated space.
Okay, thank you. And then I have a question for Albert. Is the rationale behind that 50% frontage, is that just to encourage people to build close to the street? Is that the idea? I haven't seen that one before.
Yeah, I believe so. I think it's, the form-based code is very pedestrian oriented. And so I think the pedestrians, to have more building frontage, on the property, I think that it's more inviting, gives, more use out of the property. So I think the purpose was just to give the pedestrian kind of a little bit more.
You're not walking by a parking lot.
More to-
Exactly. That's, yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
thank you. That's all I have.
Councilmember Nasser?
Well, I don't have any questions, but looks like everything looks good to me. I like it, and I agree with the mayor that we need more of these developments come to our city, and this type of area is the best fit. And those people who will be living, those senior citizens, will be very close to the MARTA and to the city hall, and it'll be a lot easier for them to move around and enjoy all the good things that we're about to have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Ray?
Yeah, thank you, Albert, for the concise presentation, the clear presentation. I don't have any questions. I'm just going to take this chance to say that this is just hitting on everything I like to see in a development: mixed income, hitting the minimum parking, transit adjacent. I mean, this is everything I think the city needs to be moving towards in terms of the downtown development and trying to make a walkable community. So thank you for investing in Doraville here and setting this up.
And Councilmember Evans?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for being here. Yeah, love the project, love what you have going on here. Couple questions. You touched on the amenities. What would this building have specifically that'll be different from the other?
So this one, we have, again, they're separate but similar amenities. We'll have a community room, fitness area dedicated for these residents. And then we will also have a wellness center where we bring in, resources from the community to do preventative healthcare services, and different checkups. So that's, and then we'll have on-site laundry, and then just general green space. And then I think what's also great is we've got access to park right down the street where there's AstroTurf and soccer field, and then it's right across the street from the school too.
On-site laundry, will the units have a wash and dry hookup as well?
They'll have hookups, correct?
And then a ratio 1 to 2s, what would you say, 1 and 2 bedrooms?
So these will be 1s, 2s, and 3 bedrooms. I think it's 30 or so 1 bedrooms, 18 off the top of my head, deal merged, but it's like 16 2s and then 8 3s.
And the parking, you mentioned separate but equal for the buildings and amenities. if there's overflow parking available at the other building, my concern is there's 54 units, there's 54 parking spaces, but you have 2 and 3 bedrooms. Many people have more than one vehicle, or they have guests that come visit them. So are they able to park at the other place with no problem, or are you amendable to possibly creating additional parking?
So this is always one of the challenges, right? We often experience that sometimes somebody thinks it's too much parking, sometimes a little too little. It's kind of a Goldilocks type situation where it's never the right amount. And we understand those challenges. We, can think about potentially trying to create more parallel parking here that would not be dedicated to Austin would tell me every single time we've talked about this, it would be public parking at that stage, but that could be something that's available. We are, and then, there's just other neighborhood community parking. Just like anywhere else, we would not like to have, people, just like you wouldn't want somebody parking in a restaurant and going across the street. For the seniors, they're parked 1-to-1 as well. So it's really, we would love to not have people parking other spots, but we're doing the best that we can to create some more on-street parking here
You mean on
on South.
South Peachtree, like linear parking?
Yeah, like parallel parking.
I got you. I think that'd be great. I think it could help. I can understand. I mean, 55 plus community, they're going to have the grandkids come visit, their children. Where are they going to park if all 54 units are occupied with parking? That's my only concern. So if we could add, I don't know how many spots would fit there, Albert. It might be a good question for you, but
There's also a huge empty MARTA parking deck two buildings down that if you really had like a bunch of guests coming,
can they park there?
yeah, you can park
Walk
there
this
for
way?
free.
Okay.
I park there every day for work.
I just didn't want it to be a shared space and it's not.
Yeah, well, I understand. I completely understand where you're coming from, but I'm also thinking, I don't want to, have them have to rework their planes.
And there are other, I'm over at the job site multiple times a week. There are other places that are naturally open to park in this community. That won't always be that way, but there's.
You're kicking off something new here. I love it. But that was my only question. Yep.
Okay. Great. Well, I think this is a first read, but can we waive first read on all of them at once? Would anyone like to make a motion to waive first read on this?
I'll make a motion to waive first read on all variances V-2601, 02, 03, 04, and 05.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I heard everybody. All right, would anyone like to make, I guess we have to do individual motions for each one of these. Yeah, so V-2601, does anyone want to make a motion on that?
I'll make a motion to approve V-26-01.
We have motion and a second. Any discussion? I'll call the roll. Councilmember Armistead,
Yes.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Councilmember Henshaw,
Yes.
Councilmember Nasser,
Yes.
Councilmember Ray.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Would anyone like to make a motion on V-2602?
There's one for each of us.
I make a motion to approve B-2602 for approval.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, I'll call the roll. Councilmember Nasser,
Yes.
Councilmember Ray,
Yes.
Councilmember Henshaw,
Yes.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Councilmember Armistead. All right, motion passes.
I make a motion to approve V-26-03 with the condition that the maximum curb cut and driveway width may only increase per confirmation from the DeKalb County Fire Marshal's office that a width greater than 24 feet is needed for their operations.
All right, we have motion and a second. Any discussion? I'll call the roll. Councilmember Henshaw,
Yes.
Councilmember Nasser,
Yes.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Councilmember Ray,
Yes.
Councilmember Armistead. All right, motion passes.
I make a motion to approve V-26-04.
All right, do you have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I'll call the roll. Councilmember Evans, Councilmember Nasser,
Yes.
Councilmember Henshaw.
Yes.
Councilmember Armistead,
Yes.
Councilmember Ray.
Yes.
All right, motion passes.
Make a motion to approve V 26-05.
All right, you have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, I'll call the roll. Councilmember Armistead,
Yes.
Councilmember Evans.
Yes.
Councilmember Ray,
Yes.
Councilmember Nasser.
Yes.
Councilmember Henshaw.
No, just kidding. Yes.
All right, motion passes. Thank you.
Welcome to
Looking
Dorville.
forward to it. All right. Item F.
Okay, so the next item on the agenda, it is to update a 2026 official map for zoning. This is something that we do on an annual basis. The last time it was done on January 22nd of last year. Since that time, we have had 4 approved rezoning cases that I will go over here. So Z-25-02, it was the Tilly Mill rezoning. That was a city-initiated rezoning to change the zoning along this corridor from R1, R2, RCH to the T3 zoning district. T3, of course, allows for just one more type of use, which is a 2-family residence in addition to single family. The second rezoning case that was approved, Z-25-03, this happened citywide. It rezoned all of our R3 properties to T4, general urban. We focused on the multifamily areas that were R3 and rezoned them to T4 for this case. The third rezoning project was the long 6 to 9 month process to rezone Oak Cliff, Shallowford Road, and Winters Chapel corridors. This rezoned it from various properties to T4. We also rezoned a few properties on Windsor Oak Drive to T3. Last rezoning that we had last year was for a single property located at 6489 Peachtree Boulevard. We rezoned that from O&I to T5 for a golf simulator. With these new additions to the map, we just want to solidify them for the 2026 map. Staff recommends approval and Planning Commission recommended approval as well.
All right, and it doesn't say this on the thing, but this is a public hearing, right? All right, and just make sure we get that on the agendas. All right, well, this is a public hearing, so why don't we invite members of the public to weigh in? First, offering anyone wish to speak in favor of this change to the zoning map to match the rezonings that took place last year. And you can use the raise hand function on Zoom if you want. Right, not seeing anyone come to the podium or raise their hand. We'll open it up to anyone wishing to speak against this change to the zoning map to reflect the changes that were made last year. And again, you can use the raise hand function in Zoom or use the podium. All right, not seeing anyone, so we will come back to close public hearing, bring it back to council. I mean, this is straightforward since we voted on all of these last year. Does anyone have any questions or want to say anything about this? I think, would anyone like to make a motion to waive? It also doesn't say first read on here, but is a first read to waive first read?
Motion to waive first read.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I will call the roll. Councilmember Ray?
Yes.
Councilmember Nasser?
Yes.
Councilmember Henshaw?
Yes.
Councilmember Evans?
Yes.
Councilmember Armistead? All right, motion passes.
See you, Pete.
All right. This next case, it's also a first read with the public hearing. This is a case for rescinding certain CEPs citywide. Staff has identified certain businesses that are either no longer in operation or they have vacated their space, or maybe the zoning district now allows for a certain use to be allowed by right versus allowed by conditional use permit. So we've went through our master log, did dating back to 2010. We reviewed everybody's business license in 2025 to see who renewed and who did not renew. So these were there was a long list, but then we had an even shorter list. And these are the businesses that have either shut down or the zoning now allows the use by right. So I'll start with the number one. It's for an ATM machine located at Pine Tree Plaza. ATMs are allowed by right in T5. Number two is for a pawn shop that closed down a couple years ago, known as Buford Highway Pawn Shop. They have just vacated the space entirely. Number three is for 777 Coin Laundry on Shallowford Road. This use is allowed by right in T5. Number four is a Christian Daycare on North DeKalb Drive. This property was acquired by GDOT so that they could build their top and express lanes, and they have acquired the total property. So it's GDOT owned, and I'm assuming that they're going to tear down the building soon if they have not done so already. So we're proposing to rescind this CUP due to a business no longer operating here. Number five, it is an event hall, which is allowed by right in T5 because it is under 3,000 square feet. This space is actually 2,100 square feet, so they meet that criteria. Business number six is Clinica San Felipe. This is a medical clinic or an outpatient clinic, and it's allowed by right in T5. Number seven is 404 Esports, which is a place of assembly where people can play video games and watch people play video games. This is allowed by right in T5 because it's under 3,000 square feet. Their space is 1,580 square feet. Number eight on this list is Fox Moving and Storage Company. They have completely left the space and a new business has taken over. Number nine, it went to Arrow Inc., which was a truck and trailer rental CUP. They have also vacated their space with a new business with a new use occupying the property. Number 10 is Diamond Sculpt Medical Spa. They are no longer operating. They were operating out of the H Mart Shopping Center. Number 11 is on 2000 Clearview Avenue. This was a CUP for a place of worship. Code enforcement went out there. They did not see any signs of a church. Also, we do not have any records of an OTC from them. They were granted a CUP in 21, so they should have applied for a business license in 21, and we just don't have any records of them at all. Number 12, I'm sorry, is True Safe Haven. Y'all granted a group home CUP for a building on Stewart Road. I spoke with the business owner. She never even opened her boarding house. They just decided not to locate in that area. And finally, number 13 is Tawfiq Flawless Gems. He was a precious metal dealer. He has vacated the suite, and there's a new tenant operating at that location. We have mailed all of these business owners letters just saying, hey, we're going to resend your CUP. If you have any objections, please reach out to staff. We have not heard anything from these 13. We have also posted the yellow public notice signs, and so that is alerting them as well. We've given them ample time since January to come forward. These 13 businesses have not. So we are recommending approval to rescind these 13 CUPs. Planning Commission has also recommended approval as well. Thank you.
Okay. Well, this is a public hearing, so we'll open up to the public first. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of making these CUP changes, please feel free to come up to the podium or use the raise hand function in Zoom. No one is coming to the podium or raising their hand, so we'll open it up to anyone wishing to speak against these CUP removals. Not seeing anyone come up to the podium or raise their hand, so we will bring it back to council. I mean, to me, this all seems pretty straightforward. Half of them are removing CUPs that don't really do anything because the zoning is no longer there. So it seems like a needed cleanup. Are there any questions either of you have on this? Any questions anyone on this side has? Councilmember Evans?
I think it's pretty clear, but just for extra clarity, the businesses that have moved into some of these spaces, that don't have the CEP, will they be affected at all and be coming to us for a CEP?
They are not affected at all. They have been approved for OTCs for their use, and their use is allowed by right. So no effect for the current business operating at the location.
Thank you.
Okay, well, would anyone like to make a motion to waive first read? Do
Make a motion to waive first read.
we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, would anyone like to make a motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, would anyone like to make a motion to approve Z 2603?
Make a motion to approve Z-2603.
Second.
We have motion and a second. Any discussion? I'll call the roll. Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Councilmember Nasser,
Yes.
Councilmember Henshaw,
Yes.
Councilmember Armistead,
Yes.
Councilmember Ray.
Yes.
Motion passes. I have a question here, really.
Yeah, this is for Cecil. I think we might have missed the yes vote on the waiving of first read for the updated zoning map. I know he asked if the waive first read, we had a motion to waive and a second for the motion to waive first read, but then he just called the roll for the read without us approving
Did,
the waiving of the first read
I will say
unanimously.
this, if we,
okay,
Can we just redo it just to be sure?
At the end of it. So I didn't cap-
you made the motion
I have Councilmember Ray make a motion,
and who seconded?
Henshaw.
So Councilmember Ray made a motion to waive first read on V 2601 through.
No, this was
Wait.
Z26-02, the Z, not the V.
Oh, the
Oh,
zoning
the
map,
zoning map, yeah.
on the zoning map. Councilmember Henshaw seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt, Austin.
All right, last item is a text amendment to the chapter 3 of the Code of Ordinances, which is the alcohol ordinance for an open container district at the city center. We have talked about this a couple of times. And as brought forward by Councilmember Evans. So we've talked about this a couple of times. This is there's two pieces to this that have come out of the last conversation we had in December. One of them is an amendment to the alcohol ordinance for an open container district, which I think we all kind of understand the parameter of what that entails. And then the second piece, which is not coming to you yet because we still need to figure out what it is a zoning piece for the larger entertainment district, which if you remember those different funnily titled district boundaries that I brought forward. So this is just the open container district and the alcohol ordinance for the city center. And just for reference, we already have an existing open container district in the city, in the assembly site, which is contiguous with the special district boundaries. All right, so the proposed boundary for this district, so this is taken from the plans that are currently drudging their way through DeKalb County for the city center. It is roughly the new block that we are creating, centered on the central green space / event space. The new municipal building is on the top left here with the little Doorville logo on it, and then the 3 other pad sites around. So that's the boundaries of the district is that event area and the buildings that emit in. The general rules, again, this is modeled more or less on the rules of the assembly district. So anybody that provides a beverage that is used in the open container district has to have an alcohol license. And no sales are permitted outside of the business hours. That doesn't exclude us if we have like an event from selling something outside of those hours if for some reason we're open past 2 a.m. But just on a normal night that an event's not happening, if you're not allowed to be open, you're not allowed to have the drinks outside. 2 drink per person maximum, and then a maximum 16 ounce size. And then I added a provision in here of no glass containers. The assembly one, you're supposed to have like special cups and all that. And then as far as like, this is the initial district criteria for potentially once the city center is or this first phase is built and there are other properties that might to be brought into this district, some criteria for how they would do so. And but they would need to be adopted by council as well. Like you would have to bring those in. They don't just automatically come in. But those properties need to be contiguous. They need to be across the street, or they need to have, failing either one of those, they need to have some kind of dedicated connection. And that was really focused on, if I go back to this map, south here on Beaufort Highway, we have a lot of commercial properties that are fronting Beaufort Highway. Some of those properties might redevelop in the medium term after the city center comes online and becomes a more worthwhile investment. But failing that, if some of the commercial properties or some of the restaurant properties wanted to partake in this, if they were to invest in the ability to create a dedicated connection between their property and the city center or the new street that will be behind them. That way somebody doesn't have to go out onto Beaufort Highway and go around. They'd be able to just walk directly onto it, if that makes sense. And then the most important rule is that even though we're outlining or the parameters for this, it does not go live, and it's written into the ordinance until we build at least one of the buildings and occupy it. So probably that will be the municipal building, but in case it's not, just something must be here before this district is active. So I'd say staff, we're recommending approval. Let me know if you. And this is an ordinance change, so it will need a first read and a second read, but a public hearing is not.
It's not a public hearing, right? So, so really just what questions council has. Why don't we start with Councilmember Evans?
No questions. I'm glad that this is potentially moving forward and that we can have an entertainment district in Doraville.
Councilmember Armstead?
Thank you. No questions, just tangentially related. I'd love to see us look into a reusable cup program, kind of like if anybody's been to a Live Nation show where they have the turn cups that you turn back in and there's a special washing system, whatever. I don't know everything that's involved in that, but
I did not put that in here just because I was foreseeing that being an administrative nightmare where we are now the supplier of specialized cups that we then have to pay for and provide.
I think it's a good long-term idea, I think, because like if you go to Germany Christmas markets and stuff, you like pay, they give you no matter what, they give you a cup. You can turn it back in and get, like a couple of euros back. But I would also agree with him. I don't necessarily want the city to be running it, but I think it would be something to consider, like if as businesses show up, because they're the ones who are going to be doing it, require that they kind of participate in a program, and that might be something if there's a way to work that into the ordinance.
I mean, they're going to benefit from this. So that's a discussion for another, but thank you.
Councilmember Henshaw.
Just very disappointed that this doesn't go live now because I just wanted to have a beer while the empty buildings were torn down.
Someone is.
Yeah. So is there somebody out there? Well, then I'm glad we're not doing it. Okay. No, this is great. Thank you for putting this together. I agree with the cups, but in the long term, not in the short term, but that's good. Thanks.
Councilmember Nasser.
Question is, how are we going to regulate 2 drinks per person?
That's at the point of sale. So whoever is selling them, you only have 2 hands, so you shouldn't be giving them more than 2. But I mean, realistically, somebody's going to probably get around that, but.
That's our current regulation, right? Like for the other.
Yeah.
That was whatever our council decided to put on assembly. So
I'm just saying, this is impossible to, hey, 2 drinks per person. Maybe we can tell someone, but
the idea is to try to give the bartender a say, hey, I'm cutting you off. You've had too much.
And second and final question is, what's the proximity from there to the church? I know there's a church around, so I know there's a state law, and just want to, I don't know, it's a Cecil question, your question. I'm not sure how this is going to play out.
That regulation doesn't apply to because I think what you're talking about is like package sales. This is a restaurant sale, which I think would be different, correct? It does abut the church. Like you can see the church right there.
Yeah. I just want to.
Right. Everybody will have to meet their distances and the requirements. Yes.
Yes, for like restaurants, non-premises. from the. It's for retail sales.
So it's just for retail sales.
Liquor stores, package stores, stuff like that, but not selling a drink at a restaurant or distillery or something like Minois right here or something like that. So.
Okay, no question.
Okay, Councilmember Ray?
Yeah, a couple questions. So, it's going to be hard to ask this without sounding like a lush, but we'll go for it anyway. With the 2 drinks per person, I've got concerns about us trying to enforce that as well. My first question on it is, does that apply to if you are just in the restaurants on the property at all, or is it just if you're leaving the restaurant's premises and then walking around?
I could be wrong. As I've understood it when reading that means when I go to purchase from fictional restaurant, they can only sell me 2 drinks. That doesn't mean I can't come back for 2 drinks later, but at the point of sale, I can only get 2.
Okay. Given my understanding of the type of restaurants that the developers are hoping to target, I imagine that being somewhat of a sticking point. I don't know that they're going to enforce it. I don't know if we're going to enforce it. And I'm fine for now with trying to apply the same rules that we did for assembly, but to me, that seems like we're trying to enforce something we're not going to be able to. And also, my understanding is that bartenders already have the right to refuse service to somebody who has had too much. So I feel like we're kind of over constraining that problem here. So I've got some concerns around that. If we would be open to amending it, if we can. I don't know if there's issues with doing that here and not for assembly. I want to be fair on that front. And then secondly, the no glass. So same question. Is that just at all? Every restaurant has to serve alcohol in plastic cups now, even?
This is just for the open container district. If you're leaving the premises of the restaurant. So if, again, fictional restaurant has glassware and you're on their premises, that's fine. But if you're leaving, you're only allowed to have plastic or.
Okay. So like if they have an open patio that has seating and you can still have glass, because I'm concerned about the waste of the plastic there. So I just wanted to make sure we're not going to be forcing people. It's like, nice steakhouse and you order a Manhattan and it comes in a plastic cup. That's going to hurt the ambiance.
It's just the public spaces.
Okay. All right. So that handles that concern for me. I just think, and I'd be curious to what council thinks on this, but the 2 drinks per person, I mean, if we have a live event out there with an all-day festival or something, I mean, that's going to, 3 drinks, 4 drinks over 4 hours is a drink an hour and not like somebody getting, absolutely hammered out in public. And we have, ordinances around not being drunk in public. We have bartenders have the judgment to cut people off. I'm sure they probably wouldn't when maybe the police would, for instance, but I kind of foresee that being a bit of a sticking point with restaurants that are trying to attract clientele and have people come and watch shows, or if we have and end up ever getting to show an Atlanta United game or a movie or something, and you've got people out there. So I guess I'll leave that open-ended. I'm curious what everyone thinks about it, but I think we're over constraining this problem with the 2 drinks maximum.
Okay, we have 2 people who want to speak. Councilmember Nasser came to me first, and then Councilmember Henshaw.
My also another question is, I know 2 drinks per person. So what if I have 4 people in my group? Then how's gonna play out? So one person's gonna go buy 2, and another person have to turn around and buy 2. What if I'm paying it all together?
If you have 4 people, you get 8. So per time you go up to purchase drinks.
The idea is like it's a bar, like I think he's saying like if he's like going up to the bar and he's trying to get drinks for his table.
Everybody.
I know how that works.
I mean, I say I kind of agree with Councilmember Ray that I think it's impractical. I think we should just drop that part, but
So yeah, if that's the direction and you do vote to approve it, just approve it with the amendment that those 2 line items are struck.
Or another question is, let's say, since we are saying 2 drinks per person, let's say I buy 2 of them from this store, then I go next door, I buy another 2. That's
you said it's a restaurant, right?
Yeah, you successfully gamed it.
I mean, I don't drink, but I'm just
Okay.
hypothetically I'm asking questions.
Yeah,
No, that's all.
He'll handle it.
Councilmember Henshaw?
Yeah, so these rules, they're pretty common. Even at like sporting venues, you go up and it's not that you're allowed to have 2 drinks for the day. It's that you can only get 2 drinks per visit to the counter. So, and not only that, but the drinks also have to be opened. So if they're screw top cans or pop top, they have to be opened. And the whole point is that you can't go up and just buy a 6-pack of beer and just take it and walk, because then it's not retail sales. It's like a package sale. So I think the 2-drink minimum is important, or 2-drink maximum is important for that standpoint. It has nothing to do with how many you consume over time. That's up to the discretion of the bartender from a safety standpoint, but it has to do with being like a package store versus selling unopened liquor versus, I mean, I guess if you wanted to get a tray for a table and they're all open, that we could consider that potentially. But I think, and we can ask David Abeds about this, because at his facility, he's got common tables that serve, and they have servers that will go get you more than 2 drinks from whatever establishment you're at. And if that's set up similarly here, where all of these groups might have shared servers, maybe the servers can serve additional drinks more above the 2 limit. But the whole concept is to make sure that they're not basically acting as a package store. So that's why I think that 2-drink maximum is in place, and it's been pretty consistent across all the venues, all the sporting venues and everything. Some people will, they'll get around it, but generally speaking, I've always, where's your ID, or where's your other ID? And you actually have to show two forms of ID, one for each drink. So
I guess, Cecil, do you mind coming up? And I think that my concern with this is that it seems like we don't know for sure what that line meant. And so I think that makes sense, but I also think if we don't know what the law is for, I think the people enforcing it may not know either. That's my concern, or it may be enforced in ways that Mr. Henshaw or Councilmember Ray didn't envision.
First read, what I'd say is, if we want to grab this conversation and come back at the next meeting and clarify those things, we can. So
Your understanding of the 2 sales kind of more in line with what Councilmember Henshaw said.
my thought would be that, yeah, it's not limited to 2 drinks a bar. It would be basically, you can get a drink for you and whoever's back at the venue, which is typically, you're right, what happens at a event, and you can take 2, but you can't be like, give me 8. I'm going to head out with 8. You get one for you and whoever's still back at the place is what I've always understood that, but we can put whatever granularity we need to in here. And again, this is to show, as I think the discussion was, this is to show that this area is going to be in place. So it's something people understand in the future, but there's a long time to work on these rules. And as we're putting together, including but not limited to our own restaurants, the restaurants that come into this district, there may be significant modifications to this before the first building is put in place and we go live with it. But I think, as we discussed, the idea was to sort of pass an ordinance, let everybody know this was going to be a district that allowed those things. So I would just say, let's have this conversation, Austin. If there are questions, we can come back with clarity into this if we feel like there is no clarity. But I've always thought of that was just, you can't buy. You're limited to
Buy more than one person can't buy more than 2.
Yeah, but you could go back
at a time.
It's not limited to, I can only buy 2 from your restaurant during the day. As a matter of fact, I think our restaurant folks would say, rather, like we said, if it's a long event, I'd much rather be able to have them come back and buy several.
Okay. Councilmember Evans had a question.
I think the clarity is just it's per transaction. So you come to the counter, you can get 2 per transaction, but you can go back as much as
Each individual.
And I think there's already a law in place that we have a cutoff time, like an hour before closing or something like that. So that's already understood. But if we can just add that in there, I think that handles it.
And remember, as the district, have a vision of what we want here. So all those hours, because we're really honing in on the final, all of this can be clarified. This is
Councilmember Nasser had another comment.
You do.
I agree with him, but I'd rather have some sort of stipulation.
There are a lot of laws out there for public intoxication, et cetera, already, and this is going to be in the city center. So even this one's going to be subject to probably as high a scrutiny as you get in the city of Doraville. So the keep someone from from just drinking wildly and going crazy. We have there's a body of law in place that would address that.
And I think the comment that Councilmember Evans gave would be, kind of lay it out, keep that language in there and clarify it, which I think would also make Councilmember Ray feel good. You're good with that?
Yeah, we don't have to.
Councilmember Armistead, sorry.
Okay, is it specified anywhere that they have to be open? Is that literally the definition of open container?
No.
Did you guys hear that?
Sorry.
Per train.
No, she said, do they have to be open
Yeah.
when it's sold?
Okay.
Anything else from anyone? Would anyone like to waive first read? Do
Motion to waive first read.
you have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Discussion. We can obviously come back and modify this as necessary because this doesn't even go live for 14 months or whatever it is. So, okay, that's fine. Just as a placeholder, I'm good with it. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to.
So wait, make sure we get that everybody said yes.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a motion, Councilmember Evans,
Make a motion to approve A-26-02 with the addition of 2 drinks per person per transaction and that the containers are open during the transaction.
And is that for just this one or for this assembly one as well?
I think let's keep it to
Nope, just keep it to that, sorry.
this for now, and I think later on we can try to align them, but you good with that, Councilmember? We have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? I'll call the roll. Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Councilmember Henshaw,
Yes.
Councilmember Armistead,
Yes.
Councilmember Nasser, Councilmember Ray.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Great. All right, we do have a executive session this evening. So we are going to be turning off the camera after. I'm not expecting any actions to be taken, but we will go ahead and do council comments. Why don't we start with Councilmember Ray and we'll go down this way.
Yeah, thank you. In light of the proclamation today, just a reminder to any residents watching that Trees Atlanta will come and put trees in your front yard for free. I think it's a really cool service. It's a great way to beautify your yard and, eventually add some shade to your street. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Nasser.
Thank you, everyone who are listening. I appreciate it. And those who fasting, thank you. Have a blessed day.
All right. Thank you very much. Councilmember Henshaw.
I wanted to share a rather embarrassing mistake that I made. I did not verify my Georgia Natural Gas account, and it lapsed to a month-to-month payment from, I went from 80 cents per therm to almost $3 per therm. And so I had about 2 months where I was paying over $400 for my gas bills. So with bills being as high as they are right now, please check to make sure you're not lapsed on your contract and that they haven't absolutely just jacked up your rates to 4 times what they're supposed to be. So I've since taken care of that, but let my pain be a lesson for you. If so, please go check your various utilities and make sure that you're getting the best rates possible. They're expensive. It's cold. And you don't have to write the checks that I had to write. So let me take that pain for you.
Thank you. Councilmember Evans.
Thanks, Mayor. Thank you to the DeKalb County School Board being here tonight. It was a pleasure to meet everyone, the staff and Dr. Sauce and Eric Hofstetter as well. Thank them for coming. Happy Lunar Year, everyone. And I'm going to echo what you said regarding homestead exemption, that you have until April 1st to homestead exempt your property. Property values have definitely increased. I've seen average taxes be about almost $7,000 right here in Doraville, but a homestead exemption can save you over $1,000 annually. So if you're interested, you have until April 1st.
Councilmember Armistead?
Thank you. I just wanted to mention, it's been talk of our neighborhood that I think it's coyote season again. So we've seen some coyotes in Autumn Park and on McClave. So bring in your small critters at night to keep them safe. Thank you.
All right, we have one more comment from Councilmember Nasser.
I would like to let all the residents know, please be careful. We have a lot of scam calls coming in. Especially they are targeting senior citizens. I have received almost 30 phone calls a day, just all about they want to sell you health insurance or car insurance. So please be careful. Please be aware of it, of those phone calls. Don't ever say yes or no. They will add a step to your conversation and try to scam you many different ways. Please be careful. Thank you.
I would just say that the even best way to do that is just to turn off answering unknown calls because, like 80-90% of them are going to be scams. So, and if they're valid, they'll leave you a voicemail or text you or something. All right. Would anyone like to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel, litigation, real estate, or cybersecurity?
So moved.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Can we have a motion and a second in discussion? All in favor? All right. Well, it's still still passes. So we're going to go into executive session and we'll be turning off cameras. Thank you.